I made the decision that I'm going to be very selective about what I let enter my body in every way possible. Hey y'all, it's your girl TynishaTalks here. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are visiting for the first time, welcome to TynishaTalks, aka TyTalks, which is my platform to keep it 100% real, raw, and transparent. Today's topic is something that I usually wouldn't feel comfortable talking about, but I do feel like it's extremely relevant. Some of my followers on Instagram wanted to know more about my dating life and my personal side of things, which I usually don't share too much, and this definitely plays a big factor in it. As you can see by the title of the video, I have decided to go on an abstinence journey, and I do want to quickly clarify the difference between celibacy and abstinence because I am not celibate. Celibate is essentially going to be something that is actually really official. It's like a religious ceremony. You are vowing off of not only sexual intercourse, but also that you never want to get married. I would love to get married one day if I met the right person, and there's not a specific set of time that I have set forth in this journey. My short-term goal is a year, and I'm approaching my 8th month, so I definitely know that I can do it. After a year, it doesn't mean I'm just gonna go bust it wide open for someone's son. I'm definitely waiting for the right time to come, for the right person to come along, because I want it to be more meaningful. My outlook on sex in general is that it is important, but I don't think that it's everything. Sex can definitely be a way for you to express yourself. To me, it's a form of expression. If I am being intimate with someone, I want you to know that I care about you, and I'm going to show you, during that intercourse. This generation has become so used to instant gratification, and I highly blame that on social media. We are kind of rushing to sex before it might be the best time to do so. And I think that's why a lot of situationships, relationships, whatever you want to call them, end up fading out really quick. So if you think about it, you meet someone on social media, you instantly can hit them up in your DMs. Really quick, you can get a response back. A lot of people now don't even like talking on the phone. Some people don't like to FaceTime. And I feel like it just makes things super calculated, and it's not really authentic. But yeah, I think that sex is definitely a lot better when you have that mental connection with someone. And everyone might feel a little bit different. I totally understand. This is a disclaimer that some people actually do enjoy casual sex. For them, it's like they feel like they're in charge. They feel confident. They might really enjoy that. But for me, my decision to stray away from sex in general had more to do with me seeking out casual situations for the wrong reasons. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. This is going to more so apply to people who may have had sexual interactions and they don't feel really happy with themselves afterwards, or they can see that they're dealing with someone that they shouldn't be dealing with. In order for all this to make sense, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my background. Growing up, I didn't really have anyone there to teach me about sexuality and how to feel comfortable with your sexuality. There was always a little bit of awkwardness there because I wasn't really taught about that from home. And then at the same time, I also didn't really have my father there, which we will talk about that a little bit more in the future. For now, we'll just say that there was some daddy issues there. I had some daddy issues. I have daddy issues, still dealing with them. I didn't have a male figure there to tell me or give me a heads up like, okay, this is the game. This is what men or boys at that point are going to try to say to you to try to get you to do this. I didn't have that guidance. And so I just felt very lost trying to navigate everything. So when you have a combination of not being educated on sexuality and feeling comfortable with it, and then also not having a father figure present there, it definitely creates a dangerous space where you have this void that you're trying to fill. So for me, middle school, high school was really awkward. I remember being in the 7th grade and some of my classmates were having sex with each other on the stairwells in school. And at that time, I was about 11 or so years old. It's very foreign to me. Moving into high school, it was still foreign to me, but everybody was doing it. I had literally just stopped playing with Barbie dolls and stuff. No joke. And I remember getting picked on. People realized that I wasn't really dating. They were like, oh, have you even kissed someone before? Just like this feeling of like not fitting in with your peers, so that peer pressure was just kind of like looming over me. So that sense of peer pressure ultimately led to me making the decision to have sexual intercourse with someone before I feel I was 100% mentally ready for it. From that point in my life, I feel like every person who came after that was essentially filling a void. I always wanted to have that deep bond with someone. I wanted to have a relationship. I realize now it's so crazy because I always would say I'm 100% single. I love being single. I'm not a relationship person. I realize now that that was me telling myself that. I definitely crave intimacy. I don't want to be messing with a bunch of different people casually. That's never been me. But what was happening was I was getting into situations with guys who weren't necessarily looking for that type of a commitment. And I felt that as time went on, if we were intimate in that way, those feelings would grow. And it's a horrible way to go about things. It ultimately led to feeling regret in a lot of cases, where I would be with someone and it's just like, Tynisha, why did you do that? What are you doing? It's the same situation over and over again. And I know that a lot of women feel this way. If you've never felt that way, kudos to you, but I know a lot of women do. So you might feel that guilt afterwards, whether it's someone that you know you shouldn't have dealt with, or maybe things moved too fast, but you were kind of persuaded into doing it. Whatever the case may be, it's a feeling that no woman wants to feel. And I was really tired of feeling that way. And so I kind of had time to really reflect on my actions and things over the years. I was coming to a point where I was taking my fitness journey really seriously. My healthy eating had really started to pick up in my life. And it's like, okay, sis, you're being super strategic about the foods that you're eating. You're working out all the time. You're taking care of like the physical aspect of your body, but you're still letting these fuckboys into your body. Like, it just didn't make any type of sense. And so then I made the decision that I'm going to be very selective about what I let enter my body in every way possible. I decided to do more introspection and really just assess the situation. I had a habit of blaming all of the men that I dealt with for why it didn't work, but it got to a point where it was like, okay, you're attracting all of these people who don't want a serious commitment when you do. They're not treating you the way that you like to be treated. So what type of energy are you giving off that's causing this to happen? Just asking myself those questions led to me going on a journey of self-growth and learning to love myself for the past year and a half or so. And I would literally just think through every situation that I've been through, and I'm like, okay, this is how I handled it in the past. How could I have handled it differently? What could I have done better? I went through a phase where I started reaching out to the men in my past, so my exes, and I would ask them their opinion on how things were. And some of the feedback that I got was that I was very guarded. I felt the need to be in control of everything. And those were things that I realized I needed to work on before I even tried to engage with anyone else, because the situation was just going to keep repeating itself. Then I decided to take a break, and amongst the midst of all of that, that's when I had decided I was moving to Atlanta. So I had this huge transition that was going on, and so I really wanted to take the time to focus on myself without any sort of distraction. The key word for me over the past year and a half was accountability, and I think that honestly, a lot of women struggle with that. And I know it sucks to say, we love to blame men, but we really got to start taking accountability for our actions. I realized that I was broken, but one thing I want everyone to realize is that just because you're broken at one period of time doesn't mean that things can't be fixed. That has been my motto. I use that every day to get up and go. Everyone has flaws. Don't beat yourself up about it, and just learn to love yourself. And once you do have that sense of self-confidence, you'll be able to attract the type of men that you actually want. Abstinence actually hasn't been as hard as you would think. This isn't the first time in my life that I've been abstinent, but I do feel like it's the first time in my life that I've been abstinent because I made a conscious decision with my mature mindset that I was going to do it. And I would say that I have experienced the most growth that I have ever seen in my entire life. I just feel like I'm a lot more confident. I respect myself a lot more. I have more clarity in terms of making better decisions. Now that I have had the time to just step outside of being blinded by lust and things of that sort, I can pinpoint red flags in situations before it gets to a point where I'm too involved. And that was my biggest mistake before. Maybe I did see red flags, but I ignored them because I had been sexually involved with the person already. And so those feelings started to set in. But now I can see, okay, you might not be the one for me. So it's not as much of an investment. And I really enjoy getting to know myself. Not for nothing, I'm dope, okay? Like, I have realized that I am a prize. And I think that a lot of women who seek out that affection from men because they have a void don't realize the worth that they bring into a situation. So instead of it being, what's wrong with me? Why isn't anybody picking me? It's like, okay, I know I'm the prize. Who do I want to pick? You just hold yourself to a higher standard. I smile a lot more. I'm more confident when I'm interacting with people. And as a result of that, I do feel like men know when they should approach you and when they shouldn't. So I do get a little stragglers here and there who try to hit you up with the, hey yo, Ma, you real sexy. Hey yo, you trying to come through and chill. We don't do none of that. But for the most part, I find that men can sense my energy and I respect myself a lot more, so they don't come at you sideways. It's like the law of attraction. If you're happy, you're going to attract happy people. If you're confident, you attract confidence. So now, is it always roses and sunshine and, all that great stuff? No, I mean, for the most part, it's not difficult. Some days it does get tough because you do want to feel affection. So some days I want to cuddle. Or, you might have those urges. We all human. We're going to keep it a buck here. You have those urges. But what I do is I bring it back to the root of why I made this decision. And the one thing that my mind travels... Ooh, so am I. And the one thing that my mind travels back to is a memory I have, and I'll never forget it. I had been dealing with someone who I shouldn't have been dealing with for multiple reasons, but we just kept going back to each other. We had just been intimate with one another, and I remember getting into the shower, and I literally just I cried because it's like, what are you doing? You're making the same mistakes that you were making when you were 17, 18 years old, and you're not that age anymore. Like, what's going on? And I share this because I know that women can relate to it, but I also share it because I want men to understand the detriment that some women feel when you kind of just disregard them as if they're nothing. And so for you, it might just be a one and done, thank you, ma'am, I got mine, hope you got yours type of situation. A lot of women are going into that with higher expectations. And it really hurts when you don't see them as anything more than just an object. So that was kind of like the moment where I knew it had to end. So how has this impacted dating for me? My dating life is essentially non-existent. I moved to Atlanta in August of 2019, and I haven't really dated anyone or anything since that point. The biggest thing for me was that I really wanted to take the time to focus on myself. And I know that whenever a lot of women go through like a breakup or some sort of a situation, they say, I'm just going to do me, da-da-da, etc. That's how I've been a lot in the past. But what would happen is I would be single, but I would still be like going back to friends with benefits from the past or texting my ex. But this is the first time in my life where I have completely X all of that out. I told myself that from this point forward, I'm not dealing with anyone from my past. If it didn't work out in the past, there's no reason why I need to be doubling back to try to make it work again. And so I really just took this time to focus on myself. I'm in a new city. I wanted to get to know people for who they are, get to know their personality, and not try to focus so much on the dating aspect, especially because I moved here partly to try to find myself and what my purpose is and get out of my comfort zone and network and, hit my goals and things like that. And I found that in the past, I would be so focused on not only dating and the relationship with the person, but I would be more focused on helping them get their stuff together than I was on focusing on myself. So I just took this opportunity to be super selfish, and I do not regret it at all. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I am 8 months in, almost 8 months in a couple of weeks. And I'm so excited. I've been browsing YouTube to learn more about people's journeys on abstinence and stuff. And a lot of people gave their journeys when they were like a weekend, a month in, 2 months in, but I wanted to share the real with you guys because I am further in, and we'll just see where it takes me. You know, next year, maybe I'll meet someone great. Maybe I'll get married, but if not, I am 100% comfortable with just being by myself. And I think the key takeaway is that you have to be 100% comfortable with yourself and love yourself first before you're able to give to anyone else. You know, you want to be able to give your 100% into a relationship. But if you are only at 50%, then what do you really have to give someone else? So if anything resonated with you guys, let me know. And I'm interested to know what your outlook is on people who are trying to be abstinent. Do you feel like abstinence is something that you be able to do? Do you feel like you could date someone who is abstinent? How do you feel about sex and how it impacts relationships if you were to have sex too early? I want to know all those things. So if something resonated, be sure to like this video, show your girl some love, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. All right? Stay blessed, y'all. Bye.